Hello and welcome to your advanced Java programming course, and in this video I'm going to show you a more complex form of method. Before we begin, I'm going to first create the project, new project, Java application, and I'm going to call it name processing. I think it's about time I show you how to properly name your projects, because up till now it hasn't been necessary. But to properly name a project and a class, it is better to have them as a single word. But for now, all you need to know is when naming your class, variables or project, always begin the first word with a lowercase and the second and thereon with an uppercase. So I'll click finish. Now that I've created my project, I'm going to create a class that we're going to create a method in. So right click, new class, and I'm going to call this one the process class. So process, capital P. And now I have created my class, I'm going to begin creating my methods. And the method that I'm going to show you now does require you to have variables given in the main program. First, I'm going to create the method so you can see what it does and what variables it will require. And then in the main program, we'll input those variables so that way it can use them. So let's begin. Public string, and this one I'm going to call it process name, and in brackets a string name, and this is what I'm going to output. So return name. Now that I have done that, it is now returning a string as I've stated in the above, public string process name, so it has to return a string. I'm going to type in the following, which is processing of the name. So let's say a name gets entered, a first name and a surname. I'm going to have a small program here that will take the initial of the first name and then print the second name. It is simple enough. We create a temporary string variable, temp equals name dot char at 0 plus name dot substring, and inside name dot index of and space plus 1, close with a semicolon. And that should process the name perfectly, so that way it prints out the first initial and the last name. Let's just add a full stop in between them with a space, so it's much more neater. And now we return temp. I only left name there so that way it wouldn't show an error while we've created our code. Now that we're returning the actual complete value, we can go to the main program over here and begin our object creation. So we just call the class name process. Let's give it a variable name. So I'm gonna say name equals new process. Now that we have created our object, we need to create a way for the user to enter in a name. So that's string temp equals j option pane dot show input dialog. And as you know, we're going to have to import the packages, but for now let's just type this in, enter a full name, and we'll add the package the quick way by just clicking on the light bulb. So now that we have created our variable, we need to process it. So let's create an output for the result and call our object name dot process name. As you can see, it has already detected that method for us. So it does know that there is a class and it is aware of our method. And inside we'll have temp. So now when we run the program, let's check to see if it processes a name. So it does ask us to enter a name. So Joe blogs, and it should now print j dot space blogs, and it does indeed. And this method is reusable. So we can take this same line and paste it several times, as well as the output. So what we have now just done is created a reusable method. So let's run the program again. Joe vlogs and Steve Bill Bill. And as you can see, all our results are working just as we hoped. And we can simplify this code even further by placing these two lines into a while loop that will continue to run until the temp variable equals stop. In other words, we have created a reusable class that will continue to run until we say stop. This is a far more advanced method because not only does it require you to enter in a variable, but it is also a typed method that returns a type of variable, in other words, a string. So that's another 2 steps in the right direction with object-oriented programming. In the next video, I'll show you how to create private variables personalized and only used by the programmer in the class.